I feel like if you get into it with a bunch of Italians, and I saw this growing up a lot, was when like I'm out with my aunts and uncles, and you're at a restaurant, and you guys are boisterous and going.
Oh, you're
there's
taking over that Buca di Beppo.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
That's it. The people over there trying to eat their pappardelle. This old Polish couple just trying to down a little bit of sausage and meatballs, and you're over there like high-fiving and yelling. Yeah, it's like it does.
Chest bumping over ravioli.
Yeah, I mean, who hasn't?
Boy, who hasn't?
Right?
If you haven't, I feel bad.
A good Pomodoro, I mean,
deserves a good chest bump.
hit me twice. You know what I'm saying?
What would your mom say when she came in the room and was like just big and boisterous? Like, did she have a catchphrase or like?
No. Well, she wasn't the neighbor on. She wasn't rolling into Family Matters. My mom was like, "Did I do that?" Well,
Can you imagine? Then she claims it as her own.
Yeah.
Like, Mom, that's clearly Steve Urkel.
Like,
no, I made that up.
No, it's
All right.
Italian.
Yeah.
My grandmother used to say it over the pond.
Hey, it's Herbert. And you're listening to the About Last Night podcast, you slippery little son of a bitch.
About last night.
Hey, all you cats and kittens, Adam Ray here for the About Last Night podcast. Thanks for coming back to the show. Thanks for tuning in, subscribing. Of course, click here, subscribe. Do it on iTunes and Spotify as well. But the video is where it's at. You get clips, and like our last episode, the ALN Spoil the Beans movie review show of the Disney classic Jack, you get to see us have a good time instead of just listen to it like a pervert. Today's episode is a banger. Excuse my voice. I think I'm losing it, or maybe I've got monkeypox. Either way, I'm fired up. It's Joe Gatto from the Impractical Jokers from Misery Index, and now stand-up comedian Joe Gatto, out there crushing it, making people laugh. New favorite dude, new favorite episode. You're going to love it. Enjoy the fuck out of it. Follow Joe on Instagram and Twitter at, I think, just Joe Gatto. Let's find out here. At Joe_Gatto. Those Italians. Always up to nothing and everything when it comes to Instagram handles. I'm on the road a ton. You know that. 2023 is filling up hot. Baltimore, you were a blast. Thanks for coming out. Magoobies, thanks for giggling with us. Man, it doesn't stop. Batavia, Illinois, Comedy Vault, February 16th through the 18th. Punchline, San Francisco, March 1st through the 4th. Oxnard, Levity Live, March 9th through the 11th. Fort Worth, Texas, March 31st and April 1st. And then I'm hitting some shows with the Impractical Jokers. Sans Joe, but they're still rocking and rolling. Portland and Seattle on the 7th and 8th of April. And then a shit ton more shows after that. AdamRayComedy.com for all that information. Young Rock every Friday on NBC. Tune in. Chippendales. Welcome to Chippendales on Hulu. And I think that's it for now. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're having a great weekend. Enjoy the episode. Guys, welcome back to the show. Man, it's not every day you get this guy. Look, when you meet people for the first time, you go, man, I hope I make the right impression. And sometimes you overshoot and you gift them with treats and eats from truck stops that most people have never heard of. But I got introduced to Buc-ee's and Joe Gatto in the same night.
Big night for you.
Big night for me. Huge night for me.
Night. Could say most important night of your life.
Yeah.
I don't want to downplay everything else you've done in your life, but I mean, it's definitely top 5.
Yeah, dude. That night, I'm gonna go bar mitzvah, Buc-ee's.
Yeah, we're right under the
probably
midst.
Marriage is right in there. Yeah. And Joe's a close fourth. So we met in Alabama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've known you for a while and been a huge fan. And then you come through to Alabama to surprise our boy Sal at the show. Come out, and let me just say this. I don't know how many – I've seen you surprise Murd a bunch of shows. I don't know how many times you've done it with Sal. The place – if you haven't seen Joe surprise one of his buddies at a show, it's like if Celine came out during one of Madonna's shows.
Yeah.
Come on out, where's my guest? Where's my guest at?
Fair to say?
I'm the Selena comedy. I
Yes.
guess that's what you would say. Same figure.
Same figure.
Yeah.
The place went fucking bananas.
Oh, it was great.
It was really cool to see.
Yeah. It was great surprising Sal too, because Sal didn't know I was there.
Sal didn't know.
So
Didn't
I
you?
knocked on his hotel room
In
door.
classic Jokers fashion. Are you always in prank mode?
No, I love getting them. I mean,
Yes.
I hadn't seen Sal for a minute because he's got a job, and we used to be friends from work, but we're not anymore. So we have to make time for each other. You know how it is, right? So I found out our routing was just overlapping, and I just reached out and I was like, and I hadn't seen Sal do stand up in a while, so I wanted to see it too.
And you're a big fan of Alabama. People need to know this.
Love it, Birmingham. That's where I
Had you been there before?
I have. Yeah, I have. Yeah.
It is a great comedy crowd.
Yeah.
Some of these, we pulled up. It felt like a fucking ghost town.
Yeah,
there was nobody
sure,
there.
For sure. People show up that place. I'm playing it again soon.
Are you really?
I'm playing it. Yeah. But it's crazy because it's one of those towns like when you roll in, there's no cars on the street.
Nothing,
right? And you go into your theater and it's like, where are all these people from?
How do they get here?
Yeah, exactly.
I've
been doing that in a lot of places. I've been going like to where people are like, this is the first thing I get. Why are you here?
Oh my God.
I get that all the time.
But then that's followed by thank God for coming here.
Yeah,
Nobody comes here. James Taylor came here 45 years ago.
And I still tell my children.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nutty. It's great though.
Are you loving stand up?
I am. Yeah, I am. Surprisingly.
What a cool thing to transition into.
It's so fun, yeah.
And I just saw some interview with you where you were like, I didn't even want to be in front of the camera.
Yeah.
You wanted to direct, still do, direct and all that.
That's my focus for this year is to write and direct a film.
For real?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
I would love to assume that, and even just seeing you hitting the ground running when you get to LA and the amount of things you're making time for, and this included, that, having the Jokers chapter be what it is. And now it's like, that takes up so much time. When I talk to Sal, I'm like, I don't know how you guys did it. It's so demanding. It is, and people, it looks so effortless and it's so fun. And I went to set once when you guys did, it was ones where I think we might have briefly met, but you guys were so in the thick of it that I didn't want to, have that be the way. It's not a way to meet somebody when they're in work mode. But it was where in New York when you guys would change different outfits. You were maybe in the lobby for a focus group.
Yeah, you had to come in and see how many times you could get them to pay you.
Yes.
With different outfits and playing different characters.
Yes, and Sal at the end was dressed like all goth, remember?
Yes.
Yep. That was a brilliant one. But that was just such a long day of shooting. So many elements.
It's our longest days was that challenge. We had to clear off. We wouldn't shoot the day before and we wouldn't shoot the day after.
Wow.
Because it would be like a 12-hour day.
Did you was there any sort of prep to when you're going into a day like that, or the show in general? Like when you're starting a new season, are you just like, all right, I need to make sure I've got decent stamina going into this. I want to eat well for 3 days leading up.
I never eat well.
Yeah.
I just eat more. I try to bulk up. I try to get my sugars up.
Yeah.
No, I think some challenges were you're on autopilot. When we ever had to do that Courageous McBasketball one where you just had to say funny names out loud and not laugh.
Yes.
Best day in the world.
Yes.
Super easy. You just open a book and read a word.
Yes.
There's nothing you have to do. But then there's other ones where you have to pull off these huge things you're trying to get over on people, and those take a lot more energy, time, and there's a lot more writing on it because you're like, oh, if this messes up, we wasted all this time.
The physicality too in some of these stunts. I was just watching one today where you were doing, I forget what it was. I think it was at a restaurant and you were slapping the mashed potatoes.
Skip potatoes. Yeah.
Oh my God. Bro, what was the challenge in that exactly?
You had to serve mashed potatoes to people that didn't order them and you didn't work there. And whoever got the most scoops won. So this was this was in Jersey, and this is one of those things. We got this a lot. It was like, come, my place is always packed. Come to this place. Come here. So this guy.
People started reaching out to you guys.
So there was this was season 2, I think it was. Locations was like, hey, this place, has a big dinner crowd. We should go there. Right. We go. It's a ghost town. There's nobody there. Right. And it's 6 o'clock. Right. It's dinner time. So if there's nobody there. Murray goes first. He got a good turn. Sal goes. Q goes, gets a good turn. Sal goes. His group doesn't sign. So he has to go again, and then I'm last, and it's 8:30 at this restaurant. So we were literally there was a bunch of people at the table. We just made the owner make an excuse. They didn't know each other to sit at the same table. I said, just get everybody at the same table and just give me a bowl, and I'm just gonna go. And that's literally a real moment when I look in the camera and I say to Sal and the boys, I said, hey, you guys, you ever hear of scoop skip potatoes? And Sal literally goes, oh, what does this mean? And he doesn't know. And I was just I'm just going to throw mashed potatoes all over this place and see what happens.
Holy
and
shit.
It literally was they closed right after that. After I made
Of course they did.
Show. We weren't invited back.
They went fucking nuts, dude. I've never seen so many people crying, laughing at a mashed potato fiesta.
I think it was just confusion and
1,000%.
I'm just very when I use my body, it's entertaining.
You commit.
I have a comedic weapon.
and you said briefly before we started that your physical talents started way back when.
Way back when. I've been known for pratfalls, dance moves.
Dance moves.
Do, yes.
You said you entered some dance competitions.
And my 8th grade, I think you're referencing my 8th grade talent.
Yes.
My 8th grade talent competition at Santa Daubert's school in Staten Island, where I won by being part of the boy group, and we danced to Hanging Tough.
I mean, I think most comedians can probably say that they were in a talent show.
Oh, sure.
Like, I think the first one I was in was, 8th grade, and then where my 2 buddies and I dressed up as different village people and just made up like a 45-minute dance to YMCA. And then one of the kids in our group, like, just at the very end decided to, like, get real sexual and do, like, this and whatever. And everybody started laughing, and then they, like, closed the curtain.
The curtain got dropped on
because the
you.
principal was like, what the fuck is this? But everybody went nuts. And I didn't know what was happening because I was standing in front and the other 2 guys were behind.
Yeah.
But, sometimes you got to pull an audible and do that move. I think.
I mean, you didn't win?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying?
We lost to a girl that sang the Fugees.
Oh.
Yeah.
We can't beat that.
And there was a kid named Kenya Tillman who, as she was singing, because kids are dicks, she was strumming my pain with his finger, and he would go, one time, and everybody laughed.
Man.
And she just powered through. But I don't know if she won because she sounded good.
Yeah, that's.
Was she funnier than that?
No. If it was a comedy competition,
Yeah,
you
it
probably
was,
won.
and it was just a talent
I lost to a
competition.
blind guy in the Poconos when I was 5.
Here's the title of your memoir.
That's it. I sang "She'll Be Coming Round the Mountain When She Comes" when I was 5 years old because it was my graduation from kindergarten.
And
song.
he did a Sudoku.
And he was out there doing a blind Sudoku, and he just crushed it. No, he said he was like playing the guitar and sang, and I was like, "Well, I'm not winning this one."
Oh my god!
But it was like in the Poconos, like old school, like old school. I don't know if you ever vacation in the Poconos.
No, but I
it
know
was
of
like,
it.
So it was like this old school, like smoky lounge, and there was this gangster kind of fella that came up to my mother after, and he grabbed me by the cheek really hard. I remember this. He was like a full blown like Italian mobster, big fat guy, and he goes, "Listen to me, this kid's gonna be something." And he took a drag of a cigar and walked away.
Holy shit!
I like to think that he got shot in the parking lot right after that.
Wait, so okay, what made you want to do Hanging Tough?
It was sign of the times. It was, we were 5 guy friends.
Yeah.
So no kids on the block.
Yeah.
Thing. My name's Joey. So.
And you won.
We won the competition. Yeah, in the boy category.
Who were the other guys? You remember?
I think Frank Nicchio, John Davino, Francesco Di Francesco, and Adrian Faustino.
Awesome. I love that you remember the names.
I think I'm pretty sure.
I'm a big like saying the full name on the podcast guy too.
Oh yeah.
I've many times been chastised for like giving the full. Like I've said it many times before, but I'll say it again because it's a great story. The full real breasts I saw live were Caitlin Peck's. Camp Orkyla, 6th grade. A B went up the shirt, no bra. To this day, I think that B was like winking at us, being like, "Fellas, watch this," because the shirt went off in one swoop. And then it was a booby parade for all. And I remember I said the story on a podcast, and I gave it to one of my buddies. He was like, "You just said her name." I go, "It was a great story. She was a fucking hero that day."
She's a hero.
I'm celebrating.
Let her get her accolades.
Yeah, yeah. I want to call my friend Joey McIntyre here and see if he'll pick up and give us and you can. I just would love to. Hear you tell him this story, and maybe he can.
He has no idea who I am.
I bet he does.
He's sending you to voicemail. He's watching the live stream.
So, I haven't tried to call a lot of people live on the pod. I feel like
This makes for riveting podcasting.
there's
Hang tough, guys.
now if you perfect. Now if you had entered a talent show where you like emulated some recipe that my mom does, and I could call her.
Yes.
Would have picked up first ring.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Do you?
How often do you call your mom?
Probably for a while there. It was every day.
Oh, nice.
When I first moved out here, it was every other day because it was like, I need some cash. Because I would work at Universal Studios playing Wolverine and being a tour guide, and then spend all my money on trips to New York to see my girlfriend.
I'm gonna hit time out there for a minute.
Yeah.
And bring it back a
Yeah.
sec.
Yeah.
Wolverine at Universal Studios.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Wolverine hosted the Fear Factor live show, and the last gig I had before I got fired was a cop. They have a New York cop that just walks around going, "Hey, welcome to New York Street."
Really?
And New York Street at Universal is 2 cabs and people up in a window screaming, welcome to New York. Hey, cousin Vinny. And it's like, nobody in New York does that.
Oh, I know. Are they hiring? I might stop by and see if I can pick up a part-time gig.
You would definitely, that is by the way, a great stunt for something. But I would walk around with a nightstick. And a lot of guys would just kind of be like, hey, the bathroom's over there. If a kid has long hair, hey, blow the whistle, get a haircut. Right. I would do stuff like if old ladies were walking by, I'd blow the whistle, slow down, ma'am, it's not a race, Or Stamos went through once and I blew my whistle and said, hey, quit hogging all there's a mousse short or gel shortage or something, quit hogging all the hair products. And he just looks at me and goes, nice.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, buddy. You're an actor trying to do a bit with me.
Nice.
But it was a fun gig. I didn't want to wait tables.
No. I never got in the service industry. I went retail.
You went Nordstrom.
Yeah, I lived out here from 03 to 05.
I didn't know.
Grove.
That's when I was at Universal. Maybe we crossed paths.
You know what? I might have sold you a shirt.
Fuck, dude. I'll tell you
Did
this
you buy a
much.
Von Dutch hat? Because if you did, you got it from me. I was big in the Von Dutch.
I heard you were pushing those hard.
Dude.
I heard, and don't be humble about this, that you were like a top salesman.
Number 5 in the company across the rail section. 1.2 million.
What the
sales.
fuck? How do you chart that?
They give it to you. Yeah.
Benefits, bonuses,
Platinum pace setter. I don't want to brag, but
platinum pace setter.
that's right. I had my own business card. They give you your own business card, and it's silver.
And then do you get to
I go around, drop it like it's hot on people. Just like this. Yeah, come see me.
But
take care of this.
oh my!
We'll
and
get
by
you
the
fit.
way, if I'm going in for a fitting or a Von Dutch hat, Von Dutch or Dutch?
Dutch. I called it Dutch. I don't know.
See, now that's something too that I think would happen if I walk in. I go, "Do you guys have any of those Von Dutch hats?"
I have a Von
And you go,
Dutch.
Yeah.
Come on, buddy. Come here. I can
Come
help
on.
you out.
You're lost in many ways.
Stick with me.
But then if you came up to me and gave me the card, I'd be like, "Oh, this is the guy I want to get pants from, shirts,
100%.
probably some shades."
Yeah.
Would you? Was there like a
nice belt?
A nice
get
belt.
the accessories. Get you a watch.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You see someone walk in and they want one thing. Is it your job to sell them more than what they're coming in for?
I want to keep my UPT up, units per transaction, right? So you got to try to make sure.
My
you get a
UPTs.
goal for like 3. You're not supposed to sell a person one thing.
Yeah.
And you like get in trouble if they just bought jeans from you. So you'd have to try to get them like a T-shirt. But we'd always like put small items by the thing. Like I would get people like on a shoelace they weren't expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, shoelaces was huge because I think about how often like you just keep the shoelaces to your shoes. I'd always be like, you want to freshen them up for $7? Grab a pair of laces. Unbelievable.
It's a quick grab too.
Great add-on.
That's like chapstick at the register at a grocery store.
Every time.
It is funny in retail and in like fast food. Like you see them always like, are you sure? Like, I mean, it's even worse in fast food because it's like you could go in there and be like, yo, let me get 16 quarter pounders and 8 fries, and I'm supersizing it all.
Right.
And then they're like, any dessert? And
Yeah.
you're like, how dare you?
How dare you?
Isn't that enough?
Yeah. Give me the apple pies.
Yeah, fuck it. I don't want to see my 50s. Any crazy stories of, I don't know, I'm always curious because I worked in customer service at Albertsons in high school in the customer service booth. And so when you work with people like that, you get a great bird's eye view at how fucking bonkers the human race is.
Yeah, nuts.
And especially in the retail business.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the returns I had would blow your mind. I'm not going to waste your time. This is your show. Tell me some of the people that came in that tested your patience, that made you earn that platinum.
Oh, no, well, I mean, the thing with Nordstrom was you had to take everything back. So that was the thing. Their return policy was we'll take it back. So we used to just see people pick up a shirt, walk up to us and be like, I want to return this. I don't have the receipt. And you saw them take it. And you'd be like, no. I was like, you just took that. They're like, no, I didn't. I got it as a gift. And then loss prevention would come out. They would look at the tape and be like, oh, it wasn't clear that they grabbed it or whatnot. Oh, blah, blah, blah. They might have had it in the bag. And then you'd have to give them the money out of the register.
Oh,
it happened all the time.
All the time?
All the time.
How good were these liars? Or
Some of them were professional liars, but then they got tripped up. I was part of like a big sting that I didn't realize. Like I was doing a return, I knew this guy, he had been in a bunch, and they all like swooped in. They had been tracking him between multiple Nordstroms. The one in Orange County was crazy.
You were part of a sting,
and they did the whole like zip tie like cuff thing on him and stuff. Yeah,
the same zip tie they have on the belt that you use on his
and
wrist.
Then I took it and I was like, you know what? Let me clip that for him. I want to wear this out. Do you want shoelaces? You're gonna need shoelaces. I got them on the way out.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that was a huge one. But it was like a celebrity like haven. Like it was like
the Grove, Nordstrom.
Grove. Yeah, that spot came really.
Who's coming through there most frequent? Who was like a top shopper?
Had,
Mario Lopez.
No, I never helped Mario. Vince Vaughn, I helped.
Awesome.
And I've befriended him later in life.
I was gonna say,
it's just fun. It's fun to talk about.
Did he remember those encounters?
I told him about it because I was me and Sal, like Favreau and Vince Vaughn, like
those are your guys.
Those are us. Like
you guys do have an unbelievable. I mean, obviously the show is one thing, but seeing anything live, whether it's like performing, seeing you guys do the show live, like. even just seeing the chemistry and camaraderie between friends, seeing you and Sal like immediately just have this back and forth, I was like, wow, dude, that's like,
yeah, that thing's been in the oven for 35
yeah,
years. You know,
dude.
he's like he's my favorite person on earth to make laugh.
Yeah.
He's just I make him crumble. Like he just
You do.
Yeah, I mean, I've made him throw up on multiple occasions. He was like been punching me to stop it.
He's also, now you tell me this because I completely agree. His laugh is infectious, and it's so wholehearted. It's when
he laughs from his soul.
Totally.
He laughs from his soul.
Wow, dude,
Yeah.
great way to put it.
For sure.
Not everybody. Are you a how often do you feel like you're gutturally like from the depths of hell laughing? A lot.
Yeah, I get it. I do get it sometimes, for sure. I do. I enjoy when I get people going. Like I love making people laugh that way more than I think like laughing that way. That's like such a.
So that's why the
thing
show
for
is just
me.
a dream.
Yeah, it was great.
Because you're just like,
and when you work with people though, like you know how it is. Like you get with certain people, and certain people you just click with. Like now I have that with Steve Byrne.
Yeah,
Byrne, I make Steve crumble. You know, he's hysterical.
Two Cool Moms.
Your
podcast.
Yeah, I love it.
So funny. Steve Byrne is one of It's such a great thing too. When I met you, and then was like, oh, I fucking new favorite guy, and you're attached to Steve Byrne.
Yeah.
Steve Byrne is one of the funniest dudes I've ever met.
Yeah.
I first saw him when he won this like Sierra Mist TBS stand-up contest on MySpace, and I was like, this guy's incredible.
Yeah.
And then I got to be homies with him from being around the Comedy Store,
right.
And then just seeing him work. And then, you know, it's one thing to be funny on stage, but the funny off stage thing, man, is like just adds to it.
He's also just like one of the most interesting guys ever. Like,
Totally.
He's so smart. I have this thing with him now because I'm on the road with him a lot.
Yeah.
And I talk, we do the pod a lot. And wherever we talk, he's like, you got to see this documentary. He always mentions a documentary. So every time now, I just go to when he mentions one, I go, ding. And I just keep counting on how many times he's telling me that. Because I don't watch documentaries.
You don't?
I don't want to get into it. I don't watch them. So I don't want to get controversial here on the pod. But he just does this thing. And then I'll just go like this. He'll be like, oh, I just saw this doc on. And I go, ding, like that with him. But he does,
funny.
But he he's just so well versed. Music, he's like knows so much. I'm not one of those guys.
Me neither.
I know a lot about a little.
Yes.
And then I fake the rest.
What's your avenue? What are you like the areas where you go?
Movies for sure. I can hang.
Sponge
and
it up.
Talk. Yeah, I could talk about movies and stuff. I could talk about comedy, like things like not even stand up though. Like like some people. Being new to the stand-up thing, like I always watched stand-up growing up, but not as much as I did watch TV and movies. Like TV and movies are way more influential.
Who were you when you first got going? What were the first memories of being like, wow, I want to do that, or that made me laugh so hard?
I remember watching Home Improvement, Tim Allen with my father. Something about just my favorite thing that happened with Jokers, hands down, was that I was entertainment for families. We didn't mean it. It happened by accident. We became one of the biggest co-viewing shows. It's insanity.
It was not
at all
on purpose.
No, it was It was between two tow truck shows at 10 p.m. on True TV. Like it was like if you look at the first season, it was like completely like male adult humor, and then quickly all the numbers were coming back, and it was like, wait, you gotta.
Yeah, my nieces at 8 were obsessed.
100%.
And when my sister told me that, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. That makes me so happy because I'm like, cool, like
the connection. That was it.
And anywhere to get comedy as a kid like that, that's not just I don't know, through cartoons or I don't know, Disney Channel stuff, right? That's more that feels more adult, but still catered. It's really brilliant how you guys pulled that off.
Yeah, we tried to like make jokes on different levels. Some
yes.
go over the kid's head. And
yes,
whatnot, But that was like my favorite thing. And I remember watching Tim Allen, my father, and then watched Tim Allen's stand-up special, Richard Jenny. Like my dad loved those guys, and I was like, I remember seeing that, and I remember being like, oh, that's really good. And then when I started this whole thing, and I was like, oh wow, I'm that for people. It made me even more inspired and more like, wow, like that whole part of it was probably my favorite thing out of all of it.
Tim Allen Home Improvement was so underrated.
So
I think it might be one of the few sitcoms I watched every week it came out.
Yeah.
That, Family Matters, Full House, probably maybe some Step by Step. Patrick Duffy was arguably one of the.
I think Night Court, and I didn't realize that they just re-release it, or so they just
it's back.
I didn't know that. I saw the billboard
with
when I was driving in LA.
John Larroquette.
I gotta watch.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean it's tricky with sitcoms these days. It's like, I don't know. I feel like we've just grown so out of the canned laughter, but then a good one still
pops up.
Yeah, 100%. And I think our generation has a soft spot for them. Yeah. So you almost want it to, the last one I feel like I really got into was maybe, I don't know. Scrubs wasn't a multicam, was it?
No,
Blossom.
Blossom. Oh God, I love
great
Blossom.
show.
Yeah. Big Bang Theory. Did you watch?
I never got into it.
Really?
Big fan?
I liked it.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that it was a tour bus thing for me. I had never watched Breaking Bad. So I had bought the DVD set when we did our first bus tour, and I watched it on the bus.
Great.
Which is great. And then Big Bang was the other one. What if I wanted something lighter, you know? But I feel like the dramas have totally done that. Like there weren't dramas like that. Like we have such good dramas growing up. Like our this generation now.
Yeah.
Like what my nephews watch, my 21-year-old nephews, 24-year-old nephews, what they watch now is nothing compared to what I used to. If I wanted to watch like something thrillery or dramery, there's so much better stuff out there.
Yeah,
in that
dude.
genre, you know?
I was just watching this show, The Accused, on Fox last night, and it was just so dark, but so twisted and awesome. Wait, so who in your family was like funny? Your dad would watch this stuff with you and kind of introduce you to.
My mother and father were both funny in different ways. My mom, I have two older sisters. My oldest one's like my father. The middle one's like my mother, and I'm the mix of both of them.
Yeah.
You know, my mom, batshit crazy, came in the room, everybody looking at her, making the whole crowd laugh. My father observed everything, back on the wall, say something just loud enough that you would hear him. And then laugh, and then I'd be like, "What are you laughing at?" Like one of those.
And
like,
you're picking up on both these dynamics.
I'm taking both those dynamics, and I just mix them together. Yeah.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. So and then the physical comedy came really from just realizing that's how I can make people laugh.
Yeah.
And I think my mom was very animated, being an Italian, you know, New Yorker. So they were animated when they spoke, but as far as like using the body as a comedic weapon, I think I just picked that up by watching stuff.
What are the Italian stereotypes? Big energy, loud, opinionated,
loud, hungry. Yeah. Just describe me to you. You got it. I take them all. I wear them proudly.
They're good stereotypes.
They're not bad, yeah. I mean, sometimes obnoxious is the thing, though, because it's the loud. And I feel like if you get into it with a bunch of Italians, and I saw this growing up a lot, was when like I'm out with my aunts and uncles, and you're at a restaurant, and you guys are boisterous and going.
You're taking over that Buca di Beppo.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
That's it. The people over there trying to eat their pappardelle. You know, this old Polish couple just trying to down a little bit of sausage and meatballs, and you're over there like high-fiving and yelling. Yeah, it's like it does.
Chest bumping over ravioli.
Yeah, I mean, who hasn't?
Boy, who hasn't?
Right?
If you haven't, I feel bad.
A good Pomodoro, I mean,
deserves a good chest bump.
maybe twice. You know what I'm saying?
What would your mom say when she came in the room and was like just big and boisterous? Like, did she have a catchphrase or like?
No. Well, she wasn't the neighbor on, you know, she wasn't rolling into Family Matters. You know, my mom was like, "Did I do that?" You know. Well,
Can you imagine that she claims it as her own?
Yeah.
Like, Mom, that's clearly Steve Urkel.
Like,
no, I made that up.
No, it's
All right.
Italian.
Yeah.
My grandmother used to say it over the pond. She was a great example of my mother is my sister's wedding. All of a sudden, like the band, my sister had this big Italian wedding, of course. Like she had a big 18-piece like band. They were great. They were crushing, whatever. And then all of a sudden, the band, my sister's on the dance floor by dancing, and all of a sudden we start hearing "Cenda Luna Menzamana," you know, and we turn around and my mother is on the mic. And she doesn't know the words. All she knows is "Cenda Luna Menzamana," and the whole place, the thing is going with them. She's tearing the place down, and she's doing the kicks.
Amazing.
And then she just walked off and like dropped the mic. And
Holy
it was so
shit.
great. Yeah.
So she's a showman.
She was a showman, for sure.
Sister's kind of funny.
Definitely. My middle sister is probably the funniest woman I know. She's hysterical. She's
awesome.
She reminds me a lot of she is probably if we're talking favorite person to make laugh, it's my sister Carla. Hands down. I mean,
Because why? Just great laugh?
Oh, great laugh. She just crushes. We didn't get along very well when I was younger, and then we really bonded hard.
Yeah.
So it was like one of those dynamics.
I have that kind of with my sister as well.
So what do you have? Two?
I got one sister, stepsister, and then a stepsister, and then two half brothers and two stepbrothers.
Oh, wow.
And a stepdad and a step uncle, who I think is still in QAnon, and then
step by step over here. Yeah,
I got a whole
staircase.
basket.
You got a whole staircase going on.
There's a lot going on.
Oh wow. Yeah, so I bonded with her like that. So
did you have big? You said big weddings, but like family reunions?
Every year we still do it. 70 Italians get together in a backyard.
I think Sal told me he went to one of them. That to me has been something that I've always, because I always
come to the next one, July 12th.
Don't fucking joke. I've never been to a giant family, and I've had so many friends that have them, and it was never like a sad thing growing up, just a jealous thing,
right?
Where it was like, you know, because it'd be like my mom, my sister, and I, and then even if it was before they split, like, you know, the cousins that we had were not really around, or that are in Wichita, Kansas, and my Aunt Shirley, and then my aunt.
Distance does that.
Yeah, and a wedding might have brought everybody together,
right.
but not. But half of them were dead by that, so it was just all over the place.
Yeah, well, we're in New York, New Jersey.
Yeah,
pretty much everybody. I'm one of 15. I'm the youngest of 15 grandkids, and then the next generation under me has 22 kids, and I'm the bridge.
Shit.
So I have like a 60-year-old oldest cousin or whatever, a 62, 60, whatever. And then there's Then I'm the last one out of the 15, and then it goes to 22, and the youngest out of that is like she's 20. I think she's 20.
It's just mayhem.
It's just mayhem. Yeah.
Food, fun, karaoke. Like what?
Yeah, we just hang out. We play Keep It Up. There's a big volleyball, and we just are all around the pool trying to keep the ball up. And I have these crazy cousins. We have a big ultimate frisbee game.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Now, who is organizing the festivities?
It came from my mother's generation, the 4 of them. My mother's no longer with us. It's her 3 siblings and her. They were the 4.
Wow.
They were called the aunts and uncles, the 4 of them. So they wanted to. My grandfather wanted to. He came to the first reunion, so it's happened ever since 1994.
Wow.
So he said, I want to get my whole family together. So he got everybody together, and it was like 24 people at that time. And now I think this last one was 70 people.
Holy shit.
No outsiders. Nobody's allowed in.
And do you know? Oh, so we'll just go ahead and take back that invite you just threw at me. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to get a pass. I got a pass from Sal, but they don't know you like that,
dude. All good, fair enough.
But so it's like it's like mayhem. It's like so.
Do you know everybody knows everybody, or are there always new family members? No.
Sometimes there'll be a girlfriend that comes,
yeah,
or somebody, and they'll be the last time you see them. Sometimes there'll be a new baby that came. You know,
I'll get the surgery.
Say,
I'll come to Sales Plus One.
You come in. And they didn't know like you'll meet a baby for the first time. Like a lot of people met my son for the first time at the family reunion.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
That is also awesome just to grow up with that. I mean, you tell me, like in comedy in general, right? The support from family, I feel like, is instrumental.
100%.
Whether it's coming to shows or just being like, for me, having my mom be a source of like when I'd call her and complain. I think my strongest memory is when I studied abroad in London and I lied my way into a stand-up show. The guy gave me a shitty intro. I bombed. I had done stand-up maybe 6 times at this point. And I called her from a payphone and I was like, this is the worst experience of my life. I'm never doing stand-up again. And she just goes, oh, I feel so bad for you. You bombed. You've done it 6 times. Oh, yeah. I'm surprised you're not perfect at it. And she's like, shut up. Yeah. Like, just try it again tomorrow, whatever. Right. And it was just hearing that made me go like, oh, yeah.
Shake it.
Yeah, shake it off. But having...
Well, the Tenderloin shows, when we did our comedy troupe shows, it was literally mine, Sal's, Q, and Murr's family. Like, that's who we were playing to. They would show up. And they would all be it would be all our family, most of our family, some friends, and it would just be, that was our support system for a long time.
Was it nice to have, obviously, people in the audience, but was there a little bit of like, oh, they're going to be biased?
Yeah, I think so, but each other's families weren't, which was interesting. I think we learned that pretty quick, right? Because like my family's going to laugh at me, but they won't necessarily laugh quickly at Murr. And then when Murr was getting when I would make Murray's family laugh, it'd be like a different kind of thing.
Wow. Yeah. So then you came out here in 2003.
Yes, 03.
And we're obviously crushing it at the Strum.
Killed it at the Strum. I moved on from the Strum too. I got poached because I was such a good salesman.
To where?
I don't want to name drop, but HD Buttercup. Open that store. Open that empire.
One pinky
For those listening at home, it's a high-end furniture store.
Holy shit!
That sells very high-end furnitures. And I weaseled my way into that thing.
Unreal.
Yeah, I did this thing a lot where I invented positions when I interviewed, and I made them hire me for that, right? So
brilliant.
I went to the thing, the interview. They're like, hey, so the way that store is set up is it's a bunch of stores within a store, right? And they're like, okay, they hired me for the one store. I was like, oh, that's not what I do. I said, I'm going to sell everything. And they're like, well, I said, well, at Nordstrom I could sell at any department, and that's what that was my understanding coming in. But if not, that's okay. And they're like, oh no, wait. I thought I was going to be the personal shopper. And they're like, what? They're like, I was like, yeah, the personal shopper for the police.
Here at HD Buttercup, so we don't have a personal shopper.
I was like, well, you don't yet. So they're like, okay. So
good point.
They let me do it. And I literally sold everything, every little store. Like everyone, I would bring people in, I would work it out with them, and I crushed it. I sold Jessica Alba a rug. And then,
dear diary,
my biggest thing ever was, my best story there was the guy who ran the antiques part had to leave early to pick up his son from school. Nobody ever went to the antiques thing ever. They had this huge antique section, but it was like these big armoires that we tens of thousands. So he's like, do me a favor, watch it. It was like an hour left of the store. Here comes this little old lady. She comes in. She's like, excuse me, I have a question. I said, yeah. She's like, this armoire reminds me of my husband. She's like, I'd like to buy it. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, have you been here before? Have you been worked with whatever the guy's name was? And she's like, no. She's like, I heard you guys had nice furniture. So I came. I was like, okay, fresh sale. Great. I was like, okay, let me take a look. And I was getting $5 1/4 at Nordstrom. So I worked my way to get an 8.5.
Awesome.
So getting 8.5 commish there, plus hourly. So I said to him, I said, yeah, let me take a look at the price tag, $40,000. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, man, that'll be $4,000. She's like, okay. And she takes out her checkbook and she writes a check for $40,000. And I said, okay, do you want this to get delivered? She's like, no, my nephew's here to help me. And 2 fucking guys put it in the back of a truck and they left. The next day, the guy came in and he wanted to kill himself. He missed out on that sale, which is crazy.
Oh my God!
Nuts.
It would have been great if she rolled it up and carried it out herself.
She just put it on her back. She's like, I got this. I was like, you need help? I'm sorry, we're closing, ma'am. She put her out the door. Isn't that crazy?
Holy shit!
Yeah, that was
dude.
crazy there.
Have you always had that type of chutzpah to just kind of? I don't know. That's a very few people would have the audacity to and confidence really to. I think that's probably where that comes from, right? You're like, I'm creating these positions, but I know what I'm capable of, and I know what I can do, and I don't want to just.
Yeah, you got to value yourself. You know, I knew I wasn't going to be a guy who's going to be working in one little store. I flipped it in reverse. When I moved back to New York, the same thing. When I moved back to New York, there was this baby store company called Giggle, and they were looking for a sales associate. And I go in, do the same exact thing. They had met me. They had met me out in I worked a show at the Javits. You know those big shows.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So with that company, HD Buttercup, I had moved back to New York. They said, hey, sorry to lose you, but we're doing the Javits. You want to work our booth? Sure. I meet the lady who runs this new store, Giggle. That is
Mrs. Giggle.
The Mrs. Giggle that is expanding to New York City. They're opening a store in Soho. She's like, I know you live here now and you're looking for a job. Would you love to come in for an interview? Absolutely. I come in and meet with the lady. I see, I have my whole resume there. I give it over. We start talking at the coffee shop. And she's like,
Did you drop the platinum Nordstrom card?
It was stapled. It was stapled on the top. I was like, sorry. So I was like, and I was like, yeah. I said, so I was like, I'd love to do it. And she's like, okay, we're looking for an assistant manager. And I said, management's not my thing. I said, I'm more of a personal shopper. And she goes, what's a personal shopper?
Ask HD Buttercup.
I said, well, it's on the top of my resume there. I said, it's what I did over with HD Buttercup. I said, and I had my stats on there, whatever I made, inflated a bit. And I said, yeah. I said, that's what I did with the butter. I said, that's what I did with the Buttercup. So let's.
Very cool.
I thought you wanted to do the same sort of setup here. And she's like, all right. I said, hey, look, no hard feelings. If that's
not everybody's living in the Buttercup world. Like you're Giggle. Like you guys are babies. Like Buttercup's the big boys.
I said, no worries if that's not what we're looking for, but that's what I'm looking for now. I need to make more than an hourly wage. So then I negotiated to get paid, and then and all that stuff, and a bonus structure or whatever. They wouldn't pay me commission, so I had to come up with this whole thing. And I invented the personal shopper position, and I ended up that was the job I quit to go to Jokers. I was there for 6 years. And I ended up becoming the training program manager, where they would send me out to stores when they opened new stores. I would go out and sell, and I would train their people. Yeah.
Would you train them on like, hey, also, word to the wise, if people ask you, don't ever be afraid to make up a job and step into that. Fearlessness, by the way, pays dividends in comedy. Okay. There is a direct correlation to you doing all that and then being as tireless in your commitment to the bit.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, that's incredible. 1,000%, right?
Yeah.
Wait, so you got poached. Were you bummed to leave LA? So
I went back home from LA because my grandma passed away, and my mom and my grandma had become widows together. So now my mom literally had like nobody. So I was like, I came home for my grandma's thing, and I was just sitting there, and I just felt a little bad for my mom, and I said, maybe I'll move back home. And she burst into tears and hugged me and said, thank you. I was like, all right, I guess I'm moving back home.
Holy shit!
So then, but I moved out to LA on a whim. I moved within 2 weeks. I told Sal at the movies, and he was crying in the parking lot. I was like, I'm gonna move to LA. He goes, when? I said 2 weeks. He's like, what? And he started crying in the parking lot.
Well, speaking of crying in the parking lot, we have a guest that wants to. Joey McIntyre, you're on the About Last Night podcast with Joe Gatto from Impractical Jokers.
Wow.
Hi, Joey McIntyre.
Hello, sir.
Good to talk to you. I wanted to thank you because of you. You inspired me to win my 8th grade talent competition where I danced as you to Hanging Tough. So I want to thank you.
You picked me.
Yes, I did. Well, my name's Joey. It was kind of I had to go with it,
but
go. Yeah. And I was.
You guys are like the boy band of Practical Jokers.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we do.
Now, Joe, you guys are both East Coast boys. I don't know if there's any sort of East Coast thing that people bond over, like when they first meet. Like, is there a restaurant, or like if you guys were given like 5 to 10 more minutes, is there something that would come up, sports wise or women wise, or?
But where exactly are you from?
I'm from Staten Island, Joey. Where are you from?
Okay. Wow. I don't think anybody can identify with Staten Island. You're from that place.
That's it. Well, that's what we bond over. People shitting on Staten Island. So thanks, Joey. It's good to see you, buddy.
Joe's a Boston guy, if you can't tell.
I'm that is legit. I mean, what a cool place to put on the list to like check out eventually, and it's on my list. So it must be pretty special.
Well, you let me know when you're coming down, and I'll make sure I take you out to a nice Italian meal.
I'd love it. I'd love it.
Joe is fresh off Carnegie Hall performance, and Joe Gatto here, obviously no stranger to the stage, but is now venturing into stand-up in the past year and is crushing it right out of the gate. But as you being a true solo, showman and master of the by yourself on stage, any tips for Joe as he enters into this new territory?
Wow, I always kind of maybe toyed with the idea of like what it will be like stand up, because I think.
Great, thanks a lot, Joe. Thanks for calling, Joe. No, Joe. Sorry, keep going.
I'm getting there. This ends with much respect,
please,
and admiration for both of you and anybody who goes up there. But because I there's a part of me that gets off on that uncomfortability. You know what I mean? You have to be willing.
This is a kid show,
to be
by the way.
Very uncomfortable, and I did it. Adam was over for Thanksgiving a few years ago in New York, and then I think the next night you were at, what was the place?
Gotham in you've been up, over in Chelsea.
So like, you know what? Let me introduce you. And I was working on a couple of bits, and I was just like, because when I do my solo thing, it's off the cuff, but I do have fun in between songs, and that's very, very different than getting up there and doing what you guys do. It's like, and I love it because it only took me 4 minutes of introducing you and actually, showing up to do that, to know that like I'm all good. I respected comics anyways, but I really it is not for the faint of heart. That's for sure.
Joe, in turn, any tips for Joe on how he can make his singing career even stronger?
I mean, I don't think it's possible if you're going to ask me. I mean, he's playing Carnegie Hall, You could catch me in Wichita Falls, Texas, if you ever come through, buddy. But it's great to meet you virtually, my friend.
That's fantastic. Well,
that was a special.
Congratulations on another leg of this thing we call show business. And
Joe, by the way, real quick, how many people do you know that have told you they've dressed up as you for talent shows?
Oh, for sure.
That's got to be once a week at least, right?
Yeah, it was a moment of time. Yeah, you had to wear the vest and the hat with the hole on.
The hole on the top. Yeah, I mean, I'm not an amateur. I was true to the form.
I love it, man.
Joe, I love you. We'll all do Buca de Beppo soon.
Yes, I would love it.
Sounds good.
All right, bye, Joe.
Take care.
All right, bye.
Amazing.
So great.
He called back. That's great.
I mean, that's a great.
I was gonna have to edit out that first part.
Oh, you're gonna keep the first part in? You could just make it like you just called if you want to save minutes. I'm not gonna tell you how to do your job. I'm not gonna tell you, but I mean, you could just take it out because that was not.
You are
riveting.
A director, yeah.
That wasn't riveting.
It
was,
podcasting. If anything, was sad.
Yeah.
It could be the point where people tuned out.
Yeah, I could have helped you by making a face that you guys could have cut to. Like you could just put this face in for those minutes. So now there you go. I help you with that part.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, so you go back. To New York.
Yep.
Are you? I can't believe that you in the business, because you did improv in high. You met all the guys in high school, right?
Yep. Did
improv.
I did improv out here at Improv Olympic West.
That's what you came out here for.
I came out here to direct.
But so working in Nordstrom, you were just means to an end, getting a job to pay the bills.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you crushed it so hard that it became kind of what you were doing.
Yeah. But it's retail too, so right. So I was able to write and do my things on the side.
1,000%.
Make shorts, do a bunch of stuff.
So you were doing all that.
I was. Yeah. Out
so
here.
You were flexing the muscle.
That's why I did Improv Olympic West to meet actors.
Yeah.
To meet friends, and I got booked on the main stage at one of their shows there.
Oh wow.
Which was really fun.
So you flourished there.
I did. Yeah, it was great.
Do you any people you've met there that you still homies with or?
No. I have a relationship with the people that run the San Francisco Sketch Fest. Cole Stratton and Janet Varney. I know them because we played the first one ever. The Tenderloins did that.
No way.
Yeah, we opened that, which is great. So I've always been friends with them, and we had a show there called Pretty Pretty Pony. It was me, the two of them, and then one other gentleman. I forget who the other person was. And I played there on that main stage with them.
So were you doing improv while you were working at Nordstrom, crushing it?
Yeah.
would you have people come into the store and recognize you from? Yeah. Wow.
I'd meet people after the show, and people would be like, "Oh," and I would tell them I work. Come see me at Nordstrom. So I was always. I had the platinum cards. I was throwing them out.
You were plugging sets at Nordstrom.
Oh, I was doing
Yeah. I'm working the 2 to 9 shift. If you want to come down.
What are you doing tomorrow? I'm at the Grove. Out of towners. You going to the Grove? Come see me. I'm there.
By the way, brilliant.
Great.
You're getting extra business.
It was no accident how I was number 5. I was fucking working it. I was out there working it.
Did you? I would venture to assume as soon as you hit the stage, you were like, "Oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like I'm comfy." You just have never not felt on camera and on stage when I've seen you guys like that. That's not like where you were born to be.
Well, I'm not an actor though, so I've auditioned.
Not with that attitude.
No, for sure. I'm not like you. I'm not multifaceted. I am terrible at auditions. I've
really?
had some bad,
like it's an acquired skill set.
I had like auditioned to be a host once. It was like one of the most uncomfortable I've ever been in my own skin. Like when I have to say lines, even when we used to do the promos for like early seasons.
Yeah.
I started making them not give us scripts because I was just not. I said, forget it. We're just gonna tell us what you want us to say. Bullet point it. We'll say it. So like season 3, I started basically directing the promos. I was like, give me them. What do you want us to say? Gave it to the guys. We worked it out, and I was like, all right, here we go. Roll.
Great. Way easier.
So much.
You would just
so
get
much better.
And anxiety like with the lines. Or?
I forget what you have to say. I talk like a robot. I'm not really good like that. It's not really my foray. And then always I'm definitely better at it now because I've been in front of the camera so much. But back in the day, I was like, no, this isn't what I'm supposed to do. And then even with the show, like we did act, right? We did like I had to do things. I had to pretend I was doing this or whatever. But it was always based in some sort of reality that I was making my friends laugh. So I was able to do it.
Wow.
So I never really had aspirations to act.
Okay. Hey guys, Adam Ray here. Hope you're enjoying this special episode of the About Last Night podcast. Checking in with you because it's a new year. You've got new goals, and Factor is here to help you achieve each and every one of them. I know you're like me. You want to save time. You want to make sure you have all the right energy to tackle the day-to-day and hit everything on your to-do list. And when you do that, you need energy. You need to be locked in, dialed in, and prepped for the day. So hit up Factors because they've got ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. When you get Factor, you not only skip the trip to the grocery store, which is exhausting and, great people watching, but there's some freaks out there lately that make you question your decisions and where you shop. So skip all that BS, skip the chopping, the prepping, and the cleaning up too, because Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready to go in just 2 minutes. So all you got to do is heat up and enjoy. Truly, whatever lifestyle you're living, Factor has the meals to help you live it to the fullest with keto, calorie smart, vegan, plus veggie, and protein plus meals on the menu each week. All these meals are prepared by chefs and approved by dietitians, and they all have the ingredients that you need to feel satisfied all day long. With 34 chef-prepared, dietitian-approved weekly options, there's always something new to try, which is awesome because you get to mix it up. Nobody likes the same old food day after day. Plus, you can round out your meal and replenish your snack supply with an assortment of 36-plus quick bites, smoothies, juices, and more satisfying add-ons. Looking to cut back on takeout? Well, Factor's the move, man. We started getting down with them a few months ago, and it's been not only the cheapest, most affordable route as far as trying to get food going, but it's better than takeout, and the meals are quicker than restaurant delivery. They're ready for you in 2 minutes. So get Factor right now and enjoy clean eating without the hassle. Achieve and maintain your goals this year with Factor. Get America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit and start saving time, eating well, and living your best in 2023. I know this sounds too good to be true, but it's not. So head over right now to factormeals.com/about60 and use promo code about60 to get 60% off your first box. That's incredible. Nobody else offers that. That's promo code about60 at factormeals.com/about60. Promo code about60 to get 60% off your first box. Do it, love it, live it. Let's get back to the episode. So you go back to New York, and you're working for Giggle.
Yep, doing the Tenderloin shows.
Yes.
Yep.
So was it nice to be back because you were around all the started
For sure, yeah. Then we started. That's when we started doing sketch comedy.
So they were pumped that you were coming back.
For sure, yeah.
How quick was that?
And we picked up Q.
Whoa.
We lost the original member Mike, and then Q would come in.
So when you guys all met in, so Mike, you, Sal, and Murr met in Catholic boys' school,
and
right?
so Q was there too.
Q was there too.
Same school, yeah.
All met at that school.
There, yeah. But he didn't form the original Tenderloins. He was doing his own thing.
Gotcha.
And then once I came back, then Mike grew up. He got a real job. He's flourished as like in PR, I think it is. He's a vice president of some company, bigwig, and guys, I can't just do this anymore. So he left, and I left a hole. And Q was good at writing, and Sal and Q had been bonding over at Sal's bar. So Sal was like, "Hey, we should talk to Q about coming in to fill the spot." And he had guested on a bunch of improv shows with us, so he was familiar with us.
How many funny dudes were there at this Catholic boys' school?
5. And we all made it.
Oh shit!
We all made it.
What a great answer. Because that was my first thought. Was like, were there other guy? Like, was there a guy named Travis that was on the fence?
He's like,
just
"Oh,
didn't have the
come on, guys."
availability.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm busy Thursday.
Yeah, sorry, that's
Fuck that up, Travis. How's your soccer career? I have a soccer tournament. Yeah, it was. Yeah, we just clicked, And then when Q came in, it was the same time when we started doing film sketches and MySpace and YouTube was blowing up.
Yes, that was huge for you guys. Yeah,
then, that was
Changed the game.
that was that. And then because we were able to control the comedy, I got into editing and directing and loved it. So me and Murray were directing and editing them mostly, and Sal and Q were like writing them, and we all
Everybody
just
found their
together.
role.
Yeah, everybody found their role. We
Which-
just worked good together.
people don't realize too in any sort of, I guess, group that's coming up like that, like egos can definitely take over. Hopefully when you're getting going, everybody's just all about there is no ego, which sounds like that was the case. We're just like, what can you do? Great, I'll do this, I'll do that. I don't care about getting the credit for directing and editing. I just want I feel like I have the best grasp on making our shit good, and everybody trusted you.
Yeah, we just always say that. It's like, you're better at this, you do this. Like I would always say, like if we had to do something, like Sal's our actor. Sal's just a good actor.
Yeah.
Sal do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know how to direct Sal. Let me direct Sal.
Right.
Let me do that. Things like that. Then Murr and Q. Like Q was always like, he liked writing. I think that was his favorite thing to do too.
Yeah.
So, and he brought a different type of humor than the rest of us. He's a little bit darker, a little bit edgier, and it's a nice balance because he would bring it down, we'd lift it back up, and then we'd find a new different type of middle ground. It wasn't like all zany. And then if it was zany, he would base it in reality, which was really fun. So.
How quick did you guys find each other's groove in the live shows? Was it like an easy translation?
The improv stuff, we pretty much knew like how to tee each other up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And just let them go. It's like, oh, here comes a tornado, Joe. Like things like that, shit like that would happen. But I became the button guy pretty quick.
Yeah.
I'd be able to clear out stuff.
Yeah.
Murr was great at setting stuff up. Sal was great at making it real. Q was just very likable when like people really just connect with Q. He's like a guy's guy, you know what I mean? He just really has that about him. He's just he's charming.
Just like in New Kids on the Block, like any boy band, you need, like, you guys all bring something different, and it's like, it must have been fun to get to the point in the show where, like, people are, like, having favorites, or being like, I'm like this guy, right?
Team, yeah, it was like team. That's it. The network started selling team shirts. Team Joe, Team Murr, Team Q,
Smart
Sal,
dude.
which is fun. And then people would put them up against, and you'd always hear the same thing. I love all of them, but Sal's my favorite. I love all of them, but Q's my favorite. You'd hear that all the time. And I was the first one that actually had to quit my job, so I was all in. So that's what made me so heavy into the production and directing. I truly I took that over because it was my job. That was it. Sal was still bartending, and he owned a bar in Staten Island.
When the show was on?
The show was on season 1 and 2. Q was a fireman working overnights and coming in. He would come right from a 24.
What?
And work. And then Murr was working in development for the production company that was producing the show. So he would be out there like pitching during the day, and then the next day he'd come
I had
in.
no idea Q was a fire. So he'd literally be putting
out fires,
out of fire, or
pulling
carrying
people
somebody out of the house, and they'd be like,
and the next
Q?
day he'd be like, zoinkers, and he'd like run around. He's like, this is your job now. We were also getting paid nothing, so it was like completely.
Right.
They needed the jobs.
Yeah.
I was resting on the Nordstrom, windfall that I had. I was on those laurels.
Yeah.
I had that in the bank, a good $350 on my Discover credit card, being like this better work. So
I was gonna say, at what point, when you're doing the show like that, you guys are so excited, right? You can't believe that because I know you guys had tried a handful of times too, right? Like prior to this.
yeah, 3 failed.
So how does the mentality change? Are you just not less invested, but just more, you got thicker skin to be like, all right, or did you have a sense of like, all right, this version of what we're doing feels the strongest?
When we saw it, like, we're not actors. The first 2, they were sketch shows. We have a very specific comedy when it comes to sketch comedy, which we think is very funny. People like it or don't. But we make each other laugh in a genuine way and remind people of their friendships. That's the lightning in the bottle.
Can't put a price
right?
on that,
So
man.
that's it. So not being cast, everybody just being funny friends, and you hear all the time, oh, so I have a Sal, like that kind of thing. So it's just all connecting. When we did the first season and they picked up, before we even aired, they picked up this back half. We were like, we got something here.
Wow.
Yeah, so they picked up the back half before we even aired. We had like 3 rough cuts in, and they were like, this thing's great.
That's so awesome. What was that feeling like?
Crazy. It was like, this is working, but then you don't want to lose it, right?
Right.
Then we got to season 2, and we're like, okay, now what? Like, we did everything, right? Like, now what do we do? So then we had to start reinventing what we do. And then we had to start thinking of new things. And we had to push the envelope with them, too. The network a lot was like, we did this thing where I remember the first conversation I put in the show. It was about, in the back, Murr asked Sal to borrow his chapstick. And Sal, like, freaked out at him. And they got into a back and forth. They weren't even paying attention to what happened on the floor. And I'm doing the rough cut. And I was like, put that in. I was like, that's hysterical. Put that in. They're fighting about the chapstick. Who cares what's happening on the floor? I don't give a shit. Put that in. They put it in. It's hysterical. The first notes come back. They're like, that's really, really funny, but we're not sure if that's the show. And I said, I got on the phone. I was like, it can be the show. It should be the show. Let's put that in. It's funnier than what happened on the floor. I'm looking at the 8 minutes we have for this challenge. This is the funniest 2 minutes. Wow. Put it in. Back and forth, back and forth. Okay, they see my point. We put it in. From that moment, it was like, oh, we could do this. We could show a little bit of the machine. Wow. So then we started doing the whole thing with interstitials where we'd be walking around and talking. And that's how people got to know our personalities.
Brilliant,
and it was just like,
dude.
we have to keep changing it and making it fresh. And then we found, like in season 3, it was like, let's do a challenge where it used to just be get the thumbs up or thumbs down. Yeah. They're like, okay, what if you can't laugh? And that opened up a whole can of worms. All our challenges, the goal was you can't laugh. Yeah. So it was like all this stuff, it just happened. And we always pushed ourselves in the beginning of seasons to think about stuff like that, you know.
Before you would start, almost like spring training before the season.
6
you're
weeks.
Like,
6 weeks in that room.
Would you ever be in like text threads? Like that's to me seems like such a fun part of it too. Where once you have this show that you guys have you're just so involved in to where you're out living your life and you get an idea whether you jot it down or text the group being like, "Yo, this for next season."
Yep, 100%. Awesome. Like if somebody says something, you're like, you know, like, oh my god, I don't put me in a room with a bat.
Oh my god!
Right to the production companies, let's get some bats.
The grocery store stunts are some of my favorites.
Playground, it's great.
It's exactly, dude.
Yeah.
And it's also such a great. People are so vulnerable in the
100%.
Grocery store.
No guard up. They're focused on what they're doing. Everything's so important. We had the simplest one, which was take something from somebody before they pick that one. So we're in the canned goods section, and somebody's like picking a soup, and like you just had to take it first and be like, people lost their shit more than anything. And I was like, there's literally another one of the same product right next to it. It's just a sense of ownership. Whenever you mess with that, people would go nuts. People would go nuts.
Bro, I would see the whole time at Albertsons.
Yeah.
And fights over it. Isn't that so funny? The exact same one, but they had their hearts set on that, or like even if they hadn't touched it yet, it was like
you waited for the time, then you just grab it. But the worst is the second one, right? The first one you get, they're like, all right, and then you do it again. Now it's like, what are you doing?
I had my eyes on that.
You're like, I love Progresso. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? This is my chicken and wild rice. I saw it first.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The one where you guys had to put, I think it was clip balloons on the people.
That comes from Q. Q used to do that in the fire department to rookies. They used to do that as rookies were shopping for the thing. They have all that thing on. They can't feel it. They used to just see how many balloons they could get on a guy. So Q was like, I have this game we played, and we did it.
Bro, that's one of my favorite ones of all time.
So fun.
So fun because the precision and again, the aloofness of every shopper.
Yeah.
And then how silly it looks.
Yeah.
To then have somebody walking around
so
and everyone else look at them.
But then there's things too that happen, and a big thing of it was just to be able to. That improv came into play because you just know what to grab.
Yeah.
Right. So there was a thing where somebody got caught, and then the guy got caught, and I saw it on his face, and I was like, and I think it was me. I forgot who was on the floor, but we saw this guy on his face, and he wanted to play. I was like, make him play, make him. And this stranger who's just shopping for food started to play against Murray. And we made him. It was, and he was like putting it on. He was high fiving. He was just a guy out to shoot. He had no idea what was happening. He had no idea it was a TV show, and he just jumped in and played. So that was like
that's a really special element.
It's so fun
when you see people like that, because then you just realize, wow, you're not only impacting the people at home watching, but you're like, you're getting strangers to kind of like, step into their, their kid self and just be. I don't know. Like that's really There's a more poignant way to describe what I'm trying to say here, but just the idea of
they tap into a different part of themselves where it's not like, oh, I'm going through my grocery list. Now they're smiling and having a little fun
with a stranger in a very public place. Is
very human encounter.
Yeah, dude. Intercounter. We'll edit that out.
Yeah. No, leave it. It's intercounter. INTER. COUNTER. If you need shoelaces, come see me at Nordstrom.
Are you a good speller? Did you ever win the spelling bees? And
no, math was my thing.
It was.
Yeah, I was a mathlete. Mathlete. Yeah, that's right.
10 times 10.
I was on the math team and the bowling team. I was a real catch back in the day.
Oh my God, yeah.
Shout out to my boys on Strike Force. Sal Bazaz. He had a hell of a spin.
Sal Bazaz.
Sal Bazaz. Yeah.
Was his bowler name or real name?
His real name was Bazaz. We called him Pizzazz Bazaz. Yeah, he's my boy.
can we call him?
Yeah, I don't have his number. He's a doctor now in Florida or something.
Of course he is.
Yeah, he's great.
Sal Bazaz does whatever he wants.
If your name's Sal Bazaz.
Whatever Sal Bazaz put his mind to
He puts in the universe. It's like the universe will go, here you go, Bazaz.
Wait, so bowling and math.
Yeah, bowling and math. Those are my things. Do you bowl? Are you a bowler?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we should go bowling.
1,000%.
Oh, great.
Oh, I was for the longest time trying to get to do the way that they would do, they'd have those celebrity bowling tournaments, but I was,
I was not a celebrity.
Was that?
You're like, but I was not a celebrity.
No, still not. But 5 years ago when I was trying to like really just kind of, I guess, get out of the pod, but take I really like this part of it, right?
Yeah.
The chatting, the interviewing, and when I would do the podcast with Brad Williams, and we would have sometimes multiple guests on, I got really comfy with this kind of like, the moderate, just being at the forefront of like a handful of people. And I was like, oh, what could I, and then seeing shows like Chelsea Lately and whatever, I was like, what's a way to do like a hang? People are always looking for ways for, you hear like execs being like, we just want to capture the comedians the way they are at the clubs, just hanging out, just sitting on the stairs, hanging out. And it's like they've never
fly on the wall,
never done it properly. In my recollection, it's always just a little too produced, a little in your. It's like, and so I had the idea of like some sort of a hang, but the bowling basically being the backdrop for it, and that we would all hang out and bowl. But then it would also be like an interview thing. So we're all just shooting the shit and bowling. And this is probably why it didn't happen.
That'd be great.
So
the show that did that for me pretty well was actually the only one I could think that would kind of work was Dinner for Five.
Yes,
Favreau did.
It was that, but
great.
I love that show.
Yeah.
It was basically exactly something like that, but having like an activity around it.
Bowling for 6.
Yeah. Write it down.
There you go, guys.
Like I know Chelsea Handler did a thing one time where she had all her buddies around and they just got real high and had dinner, and even something like that seemed great.
Yeah.
But do you like doing all the press and interviews, like for stand up or for when you guys would do the show? Like
I don't mind it. I sort of got thrown into the machine pretty hard because they pushed us out a lot to do it. So I've been doing that for 10 years. In the beginning, I wasn't super comfortable, but doing it with the guys, it was great because I'd always find ways to bring up my dead parents.
Yes.
And they couldn't wait for that moment. And it was
a running bit.
It was a running bit, and they would just turn and crumble. My favorite was we were doing it. It was our 200th episode or something like that, and they were doing Staten Island. They sent somebody in, and a woman's all about Staten Island, and we're sitting there, and she's like, "Tell me your favorite place in Staten Island." And so like Q goes first. She's like, "Oh, I love my pizzeria," and Byrne, he says there, and it goes to Sal, and then it goes to me. I said, "Let me tell you, every time I'm on the island, I make sure that I swing by Moravian Cemetery." And I pop into Mom and Dad. I said, it's gorgeous. It's serene. I know my parents are at rest. And Sal just crumbles. He crumbles.
My God.
And Q was like nervously laughing behind me. We sit staggered as 4. And Murray is next to me, and he's next. And he's like, yeah, Moravian's nice.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't mind the press. I like it. The only thing that annoyed me about the press, which we always ran into when we had to do press, was they were like, it's like season 8. It's like, so tell us, for people who don't know, what's your show about? It's like,
God.
we're not going to answer that question.
Come on,
anymore.
man.
I mean, if they don't know, then why are they listening to you? Like
Totally.
That was like the thing that would just get old quick because you were on the small network and trying to get the word.
Yeah,
out. So
yeah.
Like you're like, oh, I've done over 300 episodes. Of this
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Come on.
You guys would never plan out for that stuff, right? Just you're like, let's just wing it. Yeah,
that was where improv came in too.
Yeah,
we would find bits that did it. We did a lot of fun stuff when we did Misery Index with Jamila Jamil too.
Bro, I went to a taping that had a handful of buddies that worked on it. That show was
so
what
fun.
A brilliant. When Sal told me you guys were doing that, I was like,
so fun.
What a brilliant, easy transition to take you guys and everything that you do and put it in a like game show format like that.
Yeah, it was great when we had the meeting with them. They were like
the boys that made it. I've met with a bunch too. Ben and Dan, right?
The best.
Yeah.
We
had a meeting with them.
The Newmark brothers.
Yeah.
The best. They were. I can't wait to work with them again. I know I will. They were so fun to work with, and they were so like collaborative.
Totally.
They're funny
and great. Totally,
so
and
funny.
Just have good taste and sensibilities.
Yeah, like and even like at the second season, I was like, they were like, it was one of those conversations again. It's like, well, we're gonna do this. I was like, I'm just gonna try something. And they're like, okay. I was like, me and Q have matching robes. We're just gonna come out. They're like, okay. And then it worked and it crushed. And they're like, all right, what else you got? Like, it was like, and they were just like super like kind of like fun. And they were like, oh, what are we doing in this one? And then I had one where I was like, I'm going to dress like Jamila. I'm going to make Jamila play and I'll be the host. And they're like, what? And it was like, that'd be great. And then they had to go through all like, cause it's a game show.
Yeah.
They had to look at all the stuff and they had to make a fake deck for Jamila to look through because she can't know the gameplay if she's going to play. So they make a fake deck. She rehearses a fake deck as the host the whole day. God. And then I come out dressed like her. She's like, what? I'm like, I'm going to take your spot. She's like, but I know everything. I'm like, no, you don't. We faked you. And she's like, oh, and she played. And it was like one of the coolest things.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but they were great dudes. And when we were doing the press for that, it was fun to be with Jamila because then we were just like, we barely talked about the show. It was just like, what are we talking about? Just having fun.
Yeah, she was a great host.
Yeah. Any of those interviews that you just get talking about, not the show, are always the best ones. Anything you're promoting anything and you're just being yourself and talking about, they're like, oh, what is, and then they're like, what are these guys doing? And then it just says at the end, well, catch them on Thursday.
Yeah. You guys would bank a bunch of episodes in a day too.
Yeah,
was
we
that
did
taxing?
Multiple challenges in a day. Yeah, that was definitely rough. I remember the first season we filmed 5 challenges in one day at Stu Leonard's.
Oh my God.
5 challenges in one day. That was crazy. That was the most we ever did, I think.
Okay, so we got to wrap this up.
Oh, sorry. Okay, bye.
Thank you so much, Joel. Actually, I think we got time for two more minutes. Yeah. Oh, wow, dude. And the award for best commitment to the bit that'll probably stay in the show.
I thought you didn't. I thought you meant that. I thought that's how you said goodbye.
Thank God for that water.
Love it.
It's gotten a lot of use on today's episode. You almost died in Wyoming.
Talk to me. I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost died in Wyoming. I went up to the top of a mountain. I'm not very in shape. And I decided, I was like, oh, everybody was telling me. I was like, I've never been to Wyoming. I've now performed live comedy in all 50 states. Wyoming was one of the last ones I hadn't been at. So I had the day. I was like, I got to see this state. It's unbelievable. It's gorgeous.
I love that about you, too.
Thanks.
First of all, just driving. I love also getting the car and driving from city to city it's amazing. The open road. And you see this hill,
gorgeous
and a potential, sightseeing, great, selfie opportunities.
I had a couple hours.
A couple hours to kill, but then you got lost pretty quick.
I got lost at the top of the mountain, and I couldn't figure out how to get back down to my car. And I started hearing like bobcats, and I was like,
"What does a bobcat sound like?"
I was like, "I'm gonna eat you!" Like that's it. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it sounded like. And then a fucking thing came running out. A bunny came out. A bunny came flying across me.
But you're thinking bobcat, and you see bunny.
I backstep. I almost slide down the hill. I swear to God. And now I'm like, okay, I gotta get the fuck out of here. And now I see where my car is, but I don't know how I got up there because I got turned around. It's so far away. Because going up is way easier than going down. There's no real trails there. There's just all these mile markers that have numbers.
It's like imagine when Grandpa Joe and Charlie got lost on the Wonka tour.
100%.
How the fuck do we get back?
That's it. I had no bubbles. I had no bubbles to float. I had no bubbles to float up and get a bird's eye view.
And no Grandpa Joe with
Joe.
any sort of travel experience.
I'm by myself. I don't have Uncle Traveling Matt. I'm out here with no postcards. Okay? I'm Fraggle rocking that shit, trying to figure my way down. And I see my car, and it's far. And I'm like, oh, and then I just see this woman walking her dog, and I'm like, how did she get there? So I start backtracking how she got back. And
you didn't ask her for help?
She was too far away.
Oh, shit.
So I could see her, but I didn't want to scream to a woman in the woods, hey, come help me real quick.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's not good. It's not a good practice.
Yeah, not in 2023.
No, not for sure.
You made it down, though.
I made it down. I'm back.
So was there a true sense of there was a moment where you're like, oh, I'm gonna fucking.
There's been a couple times that I had done that. I did the same thing in Alaska. I had never been to Alaska in Anchorage.
You gotta learn your lesson, Joe.
I pulled over. Well, Alaska was first too. I shouldn't have done it in Wyoming, but then I did a whole thing.
Different temperature.
Alaska was bad. Alaska was the closest I came to dying. I was walking up. They said there's this trail that you gotta go check out, and it's on the road down from Anchorage. So I'm like, okay, I'll go check out this trail, and it's literally between 2 people's houses. I know you're trying to wrap it up. Sorry.
No, we're fine. No, we're good. I said that just like a 10-15 minute wrap up. Dude, it's a long Alaska story.
So there I was, coming out of my mother's womb, remembering the lights hitting my eyes. So I go down. I go up this. I have sneakers on, right? Because it's not super cold there, but everything's frozen on the side. So I go up this trail, and the trail just stops, and there's a rope. And I'm like, oh, you just hold the rope to go, right? So I'm holding the rope, and you're walking down this sliding trail, and it's by the falls. And I'm looking down these falls, and I'm like, okay. And then I go to take the rope, and the rope snapped. So the rope stopped, and now I don't have the rope to hold on to. I'm like, okay, God. So now I just got to go. So now I'm just slowly going, and I start doing a full skid, but I'm standing like doing a surf, and I'm headed right to the edge. I'm literally headed to the edge. I'm like, well, I have to fall. I have to stop myself. I fall, and I keep sliding, and I literally grab roots, and I grab. And
Indiana Jones style.
Indiana Jones did, and I hit it, and I grab, and I'm like there, and now I'm full of mud. I'm covered in mud. My arm's bleeding, and I'm freaked out. I'm like, all right, I got to get down. I finally get my way down, and as I'm coming out, there's these 3 girls, because it's like a tourist thing. It's like these 3 girls and like runners, like, hey, I'm like, you're gonna die up there, women. I'm like, it's not safe. I know you have your Lululemons on, but this is not for you.
You're not prepared.
You're not prepared.
Jasmine, Celeste, go back.
Get home. Get home. Go on the tour. Go see the goats.
Oh my God.
It was insanity. Yeah, that was the closest I came to dying.
Holy shit. How often does that pop back into your brain as far as a like?
That was pretty close. Yeah. And then I literally was like thinking of my children, and then I was thinking no one's gonna find me. I'm like, that's it. Like as I
Holy
was sliding,
shit.
it was so scary. Yeah.
And and nobody would know the story.
What a not a good end to the story.
Not a good. Well, no, nobody would know how you perished.
Oh yeah.
They wouldn't know that you grabbed the thing, that you slid what was going through your head, that you.
No, you're just like, this idiot fell off a cliff. What's he doing in Alaska, this fat fuck? Go find a bakery. What are you doing out in the wilderness?
Apparently, the last thing he said, he heard a moose, and he said the moose said, "I'm going to eat you." He thinks the moose was talking to him.
He thought it was a chocolate moose. The guy's gone. He's bonkers. I tell you.
Do you have, when you're on the road, do you have like YouTube rabbit holes?
Not really YouTube rabbit holes. Why do you do that?
I was talking about it.
I phone the music a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna maybe ask like especially when you're driving.
Oh yeah.
What is your like not guilty pleasure, but your go-to, me time activity?
New Jack songs. Like
yeah.
New Jack, we listen to a lot of that. Jiggy drives me. You know Jiggy? Do you know Mark Jagardian? Jiggy?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's a comedian here in New York.
Okay, yeah.
He does he tours with me. He's great, and he finds like these super deep cuts. Like he showed. We just listened to, and I had never heard it, the Jackson 5 live, Michael Jackson live.
Whoa!
It was unbelievable. It was when the Jackson 5 came out and they sang all together. It was one of the coolest things I'd ever heard. He's like, "This is my favorite album," and I was like, "I never even heard of this." It was so cool. So I find a lot of weird music on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Road trip games? Do you guys do anything?
Yeah, we do a lot of the debating that makes no sense. All the
so?
stuff about like. Or here's a big what if that we do too. Like he'll do like we'll do this back and forth. Like what if Oreos were filled with peanut butter? What would the world be like?
Whoa! Discuss. Wow.
What would how would your childhood be different? Do you think more kids would like peanut butter? Or more kids would the allergies be as big? Like we talk about this whole thing about like just think about one simple thing that.
Would the commercials have featured the interracial families?
100%.
Because the whole black and white thing, that Oreo definitely piggybacked on that. The first commercial I saw was like a black dad and a white kid, and he was like, "We can eat Oreos together."
Yep.
And I was like,
isn't
that assumed?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, like what if you used orange juice instead of milk and cereal? Like think about what the world would be like.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I don't know if we'd be here.
Yeah, I know. Think about it. Like
orange
like
juice
if that
and
was
Frosted
the
Flakes makes
normal.
me want to.
Right
jump
now
off
it
that
does,
cliff.
but in the multiverse, you're like, give me that shit. They're
Give me
great.
that milk
You're like,
pie,
they're
yeah.
great. They're
Oh,
great.
God.
Tropicana is on top of a mountain right now.
Yeah. We played this game when I was with Sal, where we'd give you the product and have you, or no, give you the slogan and you had to guess what product it was for.
Oh, that's fun.
And man, there were some, and then I think we did vice versa.
Were you guys able to use the phones to do deep cuts, or were you just going from memory?
I had to go from memory.
That's
and then
great.
somebody was basically running the ship.
That's great.
And remember there was one, I think it was for Coca-Cola, their original, and man, that stumped us.
Really?
And even to this day, Ellie, do you mind looking it up actually? Coca-Cola's original, because Pepsi was next generation.
Mm-hmm.
Sprite was Obey Your Thirst.
Yeah, Obey Your Thirst.
Yeah, but Coke we just got real stumped on. And then we,
Wanta Fanta. Yeah.
Wanta Fanta.
Yeah.
Great.
Sal's another guy that's with the music is insanity, and he gets mad at you, but he's very indignant about it. Like he's like, a song will come on, and he's like, you don't know Johnny and the Rockets? Like the doo-wop hits from 1958. They also sang Shangri-La, Dreams.
Yeah, yeah. What is it? Coca-Cola, the soft drink. Yeah. What is it? Oh, I don't know the slogan.
Their original slogan.
Original slogan. Yeah. I thought you were literally asking me what is Coca-Cola.
He's like, I got that far. Thank you for thinking I'm a functioning idiot.
All right, we're going to, as Elliot pulls this up, we're going to close this out with a get to know Joe Gatto inside the actor's studio style.
Oh, great.
R.I.P. James Lipton. And so he would close every show with 10 questions to get to know his guest just a little bit better. And I'm going to play James Lipton, and you're going to be Joe Gatto.
Oh, good. That's on brand for me. I told you I'm not an actor, so this will work great if I could be myself.
Wait, do we get it, El? Is this what you're talking about? I mean, yeah, maybe even from I guess from the 90s is what I'm looking for. Just a slogan, yeah. We'll save that for the end and really go out on a big bang here.
Here you go. We can also try to call Joey McIntyre again.
We'll call Jordan Knight. He'll pick up. All right, here we go. Hello, I'm James Lipton. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Joe Gatto. Joe, what is your favorite word?
Innocuous.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Use it in a sentence.
This podcast has been innocuous.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, it was.
What is your least favorite word?
negative.
Yeah. Yeah, and these answers don't need to be funny. They can be
True.
as sad or as real as you want them to be.
Okay, so
Negative. So break that down for me, because negative of what it
does to people's
Yeah.
mindset.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even just saying the word.
I think getting in your own way is the humankind's biggest downfall. You get stuck in your mind and you can't get out. So I think that's when you're negative in thought, negative in motive.
Attitude's everything, right?
Attitude's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Attitude is a lot of it.
Yeah, you're right. It's not everything.
It's not everything.
Yeah.
It's not.
Have you always been a pretty optimistic, positive guy, or was there a
Yes.
point where you had to kind of shift into like, hey man,
No, I think after losing my dad, I was like, you could go one of two ways, right? I was 19 years old, just 19 years old. Go one of two ways. You could either be a story that people hear about, or you could be like, okay, life sucks. Let's live it to its fullest, because you never know when the light's going to get turned out. So I think I went that way with it, and I think that really pulled up my optimism.
Wow.
My mom was pretty optimistic as well.
Yeah,
So I think that's part of it.
that's awesome. What turns you on?
That my dad's dead. that's an odd.
Sorry, I'm James Lipton.
What turns me on?
What turns you on?
Dancing.
What kind of dancing?
The Macarena, which is odd. No, I like a dance floor. I think dance floors could be very erotic.
1,000%.
It's just so fun.
I mean, the amount of grinding, dry humping that I've seen, been a part of.
You're welcome.
Been
It was good going out with you the other night, by the way.
those moves were pretty. Everybody was looking at me, was like, dude, was that the top seller at HD Buttercup?
There he is.
He's got some serious moves. Wearing sweatpants at the club is a bold choice, by the way.
Bold choice. Hey, they were joggers. They were high-end joggers, okay?
I wore tearaways just to kind of.
No, I will say that. I've always found that, too. I always found it's like, it's always been the common ground for people, I think,
Totally.
The way to meet people.
Another place where everyone just kind of like, let's
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What turns you off?
What turns me off? I think bad breath is a big. It's tough.
Halitosis.
It's tough.
Sorry,
I can even do a body over it if you have to, but like a bad breath's rough.
Yeah, I'll take a bad pit over a bad mouth.
100%.
Who said that?
Coca-Cola. Weird
Wow.
slogan.
Weird slogan. Worked for some reason. I think the taste was already there, so it's like whatever, What is your favorite curse word?
I mean, the multi-use of the word "fuck" is probably
It's awesome.
It's hard to beat.
Yeah, it's
hard to beat.
celebratory.
Yeah.
It's demonstrative.
I love a fuck yeah.
Me too.
I mean, a fuck yeah attitude. Speaking of attitude is the way.
Yeah.
To go, right.
You can't say fuck yeah and not have your day turned around.
Right, and you can't have somebody come on board. Like they know you're enthusiastic about it. Fuck yeah energy is the best energy to be around.
Some would say that waking up and doing like into a fuck yeah is probably the best way to start your day.
Did you hear about that yell? The thing you're supposed to do in the morning when you wake up?
No.
Yeah,
Sounds like a Tony Robbins
When
thing.
you wake up and you yell. You're supposed to yell Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins. No, you're supposed to when you wake up and
He gets
yell
50
to release
cents
all
every
your
time you
energy
do it.
and wake your energy up. Yeah,
Just yell?
just yell.
Not anything specific?
No, just yell like a guttural yell.
But you got to make sure it's not like a blood curdling.
No. It's supposed to just be like a deep.
You don't want to get the
release
neighbors to come
everything.
over and check on you.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, it's just my morning routine.
My morning routine. Give them 6 a.m.
Yeah. You're mixing it up. I heard you screaming Tony Robbins all last month.
Hey, keep it fresh.
What sound or noise do you love?
What sound?
Sound or noise do you love?
Clapping.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Snapping.
Like my Aunt Shirley used to do that
No.
to waiters.
It's worst.
In her late
There's
90s,
never
I'll give her a little
really-
pass, but
Okay, still though.
still, I was like, Shirley, this
Yeah.
is why we don't.
I don't like that. Well, there's no reason ever to snap.
Instead of snapping, especially if it's in replace of clapping.
100%. Oh, that is just odd.
In my fraternity in college, guys would do that a lot.
Yep.
Oh, I fucking know. Oh, I'm big. I hated that.
Yeah.
You guys know who you are, by the way, the snappers.
Yeah. Name them. Go ahead.
Okay. Dave Benson, Dave Ratt. No. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Architecture.
What profession would you not like to do?
I don't think I could be a doctor. I don't think I could report that you're going to die to people and
Yeah.
not try to make it light.
Although I do see you being in a position where it's like you're just maybe a pediatrician, but then there's an opening for the plastic surgeon, and you're like,
Dude, yeah,
actually, I do this too.
Yeah, I do.
And they're
Here
like,
we go.
really? I don't know if you saw my resume there. But I was a personal shopper at HD Buttercup.
Speaking about fuck yeah, when they told us that my father's tumor was Malignant. I thought that was the good one, and I said "fuck yeah," and everybody looked at me. Swear to God, true story. I went "fuck yeah," and everybody looked at me. I went,
You
oh,
did it
is
that
that
enthusiastically?
enthusiastic, and everybody's like, "That's the bad one." My sister was like, "That's the bad one." I was like, "Oh shit!" And I started crying.
What an emotional roller coaster.
What the worst?
Great scene in a show or a
great.
movie.
So great.
Oh my God. I
gotta
thought
put that
Malignant was the
screenplay.
good one too.
It might be Malignant. Malignant or
No, Benign is the good one.
Benign's a good one. Right? See, you even now you had fuck yeah energy.
I did. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a true story.
Was the doctor just like,
He's like, this kid's dark.
what are you doing?
He's like, what the fuck did this father do to this kid? Call child services.
All right. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Fuck yeah.
Joe Gatto, ladies and gentlemen. Dude,
Thank you so
you're a
much,
fucking
brother.
legend. You crushed it.
You're the best.
Go see Joe on tour.
Please.
JoeGatto.com.
JoeGattoOfficial.com.
I love that.
Yeah.
You're on a massive tour.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. It's
And you love it, and the fans love it, and I can't wait to be in a city where I can pop through
I would love you
and
to.
surprise you and have the crowd go, who? And
come on.
I
I'd love you to come through.
I can't wait.
We probably have to link up sometime, right?
I think so. I'm on the road a lot. We'll figure that out.
For sure.
Two Cool Moms podcast.
Yes, for sure.
Steve
Check
Byrne
it
and
out.
Joe, check it out. And on Instagram at Joe_Gatto.
That's right.
Same on Twitter.
Same on Twitter, but that doesn't matter. Instagram's where it's at.
Instagram's where it's at. Do you TikTok at all?
I do TikTok very well. I do, and the link's in the bio there. Just you can find
you love
there.
it? Your
I'm
clip-
bigger on the TikTok. Yeah, I got like 7.5 there.
Holy
The
shit.
dance moves, they come in handy, brother.
TikTok is kind of like when I talk to people that come to shows, none of them, they're like, I saw you from TikTok.
Yeah.
Graham might just be for fit models and
I think they all have their purpose.
Yeah.
But I think, what do you find yourself on more? Graham or
Instagram.
TikTok? Yeah.
I need to get more on TikTok.
I go
but
live on TikTok more than I do live on Instagram.
Whoa.
Yeah, I go TikTok live.
Yeah, you love the lives.
I love lives. I love people giving a peek behind the curtain. Hello, knock, knock. Who's there? Come on in.
Are you reading the comments? Are you like
I fire off sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get in there. But sometimes I just do it. I do this thing where I try to brighten people's day where I have a joke book and I just read a joke. And
amazing?
I'm like, you're having a bad day? Come on, sit with me. Let's talk. And those have the purpose.
You strike me as a great dad joke. I know you got 2 kids, 4 and 2, right? No, that was years ago.
7 and 5. Yeah, but you were right. At one point they were 4 and 2.
That's what. If you let me finish my sentence,
Yeah,
I was going to
right,
say.
but now they are.
Yeah. Are you make them laugh a lot, I'm sure. You're a goofy, silly ass dad.
100%.
Probably dad of the year every day.
I try.
Give me some dad jokes that you're using currently that are crushing.
My son is loving the moo as a punchline with any cow joke. So he's making them up on his own. It's like, what did the horse say to the cow? Move over. And then he'd be like, what'd the chicken say to the cow? I'm like, what? Move out of the way. Like he'll just run down the thing and I have to act surprised all the time. But
At a
it's so
certain
fun.
point, he's going to be like, what did the bear say to the meerkat? It's malignant.
Yes.
And you're going to be like, what?
Fuck yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.